want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
What's up everybody, how's it going out there? In this video we are going to be making lumpia, and one of the very first things I'm going to do is I'm going to take an onion and I'm going to be cutting it thinly, as you can see here, and then we're going to end up chopping it into smaller pieces, so that way if you bite into the lumpia you're not getting a big piece of onion. Then what we want to do is we want to take some fresh ginger and we want to go ahead and peel the ginger, finely cut this up and put it into small little pieces, because we don't want to have a big chunk of ginger in a piece of lumpia, because that might be a little off-putting when you bite into it, but we do want to have that ginger flavor in there. So chop them up where it's small little pieces, and if you don't have normal, fresh ginger, you can use powdered ginger or crushed. And you don't have to put mushrooms in it, but I decided I was going to put some mushrooms inside here. These are just regular button mushrooms, but you can use any kind of mushroom really you want. Same thing, you want to cut them up into small pieces though. And I'm going to be using pork. Sometimes people won't put any meat at all, but when they do, generally it's going to be pork. And so I'm just using some regular old ground pork in this. Put a little bit of olive oil in a pan. And then what we're going to do is we're going to end up sauteing some of our vegetables to get some of the raw flavor out. So our ginger goes inside as well as our onions. I'm going to be adding a lot of garlic to this, okay? And we don't want to cook this at too high of a temperature, because if we cook it too high of a temperature, we have the potential of the garlic burning and it'll become bitter. I'm adding some black pepper, and I'm going to be adding also a little bit of salt to this. And I'm not going to add too much salt because we're going to end up adding soy sauce later. And then go ahead and throw your pork in. If you want to use chicken, you could use chicken, And then go ahead and mix that up real well, because if not, the pork is going to end up basically kind of like turning into meatballs. And we don't want that. We want everything to be kind of loose. So right here I'm using a little bit of Korean oyster sauce, and I'm also adding some soy sauce to the mixture here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to stir it up. And you can see all those juices. Well, that's what I'm going to throw the mushrooms into. Now the mushrooms have a lot of moisture, but they also end up absorbing moisture and flavors too. So I purposely throw them inside there like that so they act like a sponge. As you can see here, it's absorbed a lot of it, but it's going to end up releasing a lot of that water a little bit later on. So is some of the pork and whatnot. So we are going to end up having some liquid back in there a little bit later. And that liquid right here, that has a lot of flavor, but it's not good for lumpia, right? It's not good for anything like that. So you want to try to minimize the amount of liquid that actually is going to end up going into the filling for the lumpia. I have a half a head of cabbage here, and just like before, I'm cutting everything thin, just like I'm making a coleslaw. And I don't want long strings or anything of it either. What I want is basically small little pieces. So after I cut it like this, I'm going to end up chopping it into small pieces. And there's a lot of moisture inside the cabbage as well, and we're going to lose that as soon as it heats up, or it gets some salt on it. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the bowl full of stuff. All of our filling is inside there, including our cabbage. And we're just going to go ahead and mix it up. This bowl is a little small, but it is what it is. I'm also adding some shredded carrot inside this, and we're going to mix that up as well. You can pretty much add whatever you want. So right here I've got an egg that I have beaten up, and we're going to be using this as our glue. And next to that you can see our lumpia wrappers. Here's two different ways of wrapping a lumpia, okay? I put a little bit of egg wash right there so that way it seals everything up. You kind of want to grab this and squeeze it a little bit and kind of roll it up like that. And then after you get it started, just keep rolling, put another layer of egg wash to act as the glue, and then roll it up the rest of the way. And after you're done, the side that's been rolled is what you set down. Give it about a minute or so, and then it's going to act like glue. This is the second way, and this is the more traditional way. So you end up doing the bottom first, then you fold over the edges after you have a nice shape there. Do the sides, yeah. And then from here, we only have to do the egg wash like an envelope up on top. And then we roll her up. And then these wrappers are really thin, and they can dry out pretty easy, and they can also tear pretty easy, so you need to kind of be careful. So right here I have got some hot oil, and lumpia, just like egg rolls or spring rolls and everything like that, they have a tendency to have a little air in them, and that air is going to come up on top, so when you try to deep fry them like this, they're going to want to float. And then so the bottom, 3/4 is going to end up becoming brown, and then the top is not, so you're going to have to turn it over, right? But the air is already stuck up there, so it's really hard to turn it over. So what I end up doing is I take a potato masher and I just rest it on top of the lumpia to keep everything submerged. If you don't want to do that, you can use half of the oil and then just let gravity do the job, and then just turn the lumpia over instead of having it just be completely submerged. But you can see right here what I do is I take 3 of them, take my potato smasher, and then I just let the weight of the potato smasher hold those guys down just like that. I'm not applying pressure, gravity's doing the work. When they look brown like that, you can go ahead and take them out, let the oil kind of drain. If you give it about 5 minutes and then put them back in the oil and do a double fry, they're going to be twice as crispy. But you also don't want to leave them in for too long because they'll become too oily. But this is the end result, guys. This is your lumpia. And as far as sauces, sky is the limit. Sky is the limit. And if you like this video, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe. Check out my other videos. I got a lot more. And until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later.